Certainly, we all are facing challenges and we all need additional funding to do what we need to do, not only to provide for our students, but also to reward our staff for a job well done. So, of course, it always becomes a challenge, which is why we certainly had to talk about the 2% increase that was proposed by the governor, because there are several caveats to that that not everybody was familiar with.
We've heard the specter of decreasing enrollment over the last really 10 years. That's why we had school consolidation. That's why we've been talking about additional staff cuts. But has that really come to fruition, or is attendance actually up?
We've seen a slight increase in student attendance, which is very positive, and we're anticipating a slight increase for next year. We had an increase this year as well. But when we look at all of our projections out, we're looking at some decreases moving forward. So you have to monitor that very closely. And the other thing that comes to mind is, even though you have increases, they don't all go to the same school. So you have to look at the impact across the school division. So it's something that you monitor very closely. We always budget on the conservative end with student enrollment, which is always a good thing when you have more students that show up than you're anticipating, because that does mean additional funding. But in order to be safe, we always go with a more conservative figure.
In addition to decreasing enrollment that folks continually talk about, people continue to ask, why does Martinsville have a separate school system and Henry County have a separate school system? And are you working to try to find ways to save money as two localities in the same community?
Well, what we always try to do is collaborate, and Mrs. Heath and I have talked on many occasions about ways that we can share professional development funding, or ways that we can serve our students through regional programs, of course through the Governor's School program, and special education. So we do look for those kinds of opportunities, and there's always ways that we can share resources to help each other out. But that does require a great deal of collaboration between the two school divisions, and fortunately, Mrs. Heath and I are both working very well together to make that happen.
You talked about the mandates. You have to educate students, you have to transport them, but extracurricular activities are not mandated. Could you in the future see a pay-for-play system that could bring back some stipends and increases for coaches without putting too big of a burden on the parents?
Some school divisions have done that. We do shy away from that because we want to make sure that all students can have the opportunity to participate. And when you start charging or requiring tuition for those kinds of activities, then in many cases students who most need those opportunities end up not being able to participate. So we don't want to have that situation, but there are several strategies the different school divisions have used. I'm not a proponent of those. Obviously, when they had to do those, they were at a point where they had no other option. Some school divisions have even cut athletic programs and so forth. But as you heard our board talk about, sometimes it's athletics or extracurricular activities that keep children in school and keep them engaged. So we really struggle to make sure that that's not on the chopping block, so to speak. But you know, if the economy doesn't turn around, then I think all things have to be on the table moving forward.